Murdering husband for insurance money. In most murders, no matter how carefully the mastermind plans, and the criminals often hide in the dark to cover their tracks, under the penetrating eyes of investigators, the perpetrators rarely have a chance to escape. Midnight phone calls always open the way for thrilling murder investigations. At around 11 p.m. on April 7, 2013, the 911 emergency hotline in the small, remote town of Bigelow in Arkansas, USA rang loudly. A woman named Mary Dixon on the other end of the line reported in a panic that while she was dozing off at the table, next to the family's accounting books, she heard loud noises in her husband's room. Running out into the hallway, she saw a dark figure wearing a hooded sweatshirt rush out the back door and escape. The scene was like a blank sheet of paper. Knowing that she could not catch up and could not recognize who the shadow was, Mary returned to her husband's room and saw him shot in the head, on the couple's bed. The scene showed that Mary's husband, mechanic Carl Dixon, born in 1955, died from bullets fired from a gun with the same caliber as the handgun that Carl owned. But the investigation agency could not find it at Carl's house or at his car workshop. Meanwhile, Mary confirmed that she was the only one at home that day with her husband and that they never locked the door at night. The traces left behind showed that the killer did not come to rob. Because he went straight to Carl's bed, there were no signs of a struggle. After shooting Carl, he quickly escaped. There were almost no traces of the suspect. Mary could not describe whether the killer was male or female or had any characteristics other than saying that he was much bigger than her. Not to mention that on April 10, Mary shouted that the couple had just lost $5,000, after Carl asked to withdraw cash from the bank to pay the bills. According to Mary, the subject may have broken into the house and killed Carl to get that money. This woman had very strange behaviors, which according to some detectives seemed to be pretending to be crazy. 2 weeks after Carl died, Mary sent a request to the police to return the bloody bed sheet, bought at a store for $140, that was confiscated as evidence. The police checked her phone and found that on the evening of April 7, Mary called her nephew Danny Cannon and James Miller, Danny's friend, many times. When questioned, Mary gave inconsistent and contradictory stories and failed the lie detector test. From left to right, Mary, Danny, and James. The roundabout tactic. Seeing Mary's tough face, the investigators turned to riddle Danny Cannon and James Miller, but both remained silent until James' girlfriend, who was also Danny's friend, blurted out that after Carl died, she saw Danny and James sneaking a large sum of money but did not know how much. At this point, James' girlfriend had to confess more, specifically that Danny and James were hired by Mary to kill her husband to collect the life insurance money. James stated that on April 4, Danny went to Mary's car workshop, where he received $5,000 from Mary. On the evening of April 7, Mary called Danny and James several times to determine the most appropriate time for both of them to come. After James dropped Danny off near Dixon's house, he parked nearby and waited. When Danny left Carl's house and went to James, he was carrying a gun, meaning Mary had taken her husband's gun and given it to Danny before or that night for Danny to commit the crime. On the way home, Danny threw the gun and shoes out the window of the moving car. The next day, Danny and James split the $5,000 and were caught by James's girlfriend. In this case, James received $1,000. The testimony of Mary's accomplices was reinforced by the heartless wife's own confession to a person in the detention center. Thanks to that, the investigators understood Mary's motive for killing her husband, for money. Before being arrested, Mary tried to withdraw her husband's insurance money but failed because of the insurance company's vigilance. In November 2013, Danny, then 23 years old, was arrested. Mary followed suit a year later. All three, Mary, Danny, James, agreed to plead guilty to murder in exchange for a favorable sentence, not the death penalty. Mary was sentenced to 30 years, Danny to 25 years, and James to 20 years.